We have turned to social media now more than ever to keep up to date with the news or simply to escape the depressing atmosphere of 2020. These apps mean that we are now more connected to each other than we have ever been in history. We now have multiple generations only knowing what smartphones look like since the smartphone itself was 10 years old in 2017. We already know that too much social media might not be a good thing, but if moderated, it can be a helpful tool. As of July this year, more than half the world now uses social media. Almost 5 billion people around the world have access to internet. Join us as we talk to others about how social media has affected them through the pandemic and what you can do to avoid falling into addicting traps that the social media platforms lay out for their users.
Many of us are guilty of spending far too much time trying to take the perfect photo, all the while ignoring the first-hand experience of witnessing it for ourselves with our own two eyes. Social media is an illusion. That digital world is not real. By design, social media rewards us for showing the best version of our life, the edited, posed, orchestrated best angle of our life. In short, the highlight reel. These fake comparisons will only serve to make us feel inadequate and inferior to something that is not even real. Validation is the dopamine hit we are now reliant on, and during this pandemic, this can greatly affect our self-esteem and trigger loneliness and isolation in many people around the world. What do you think are the positive aspects of social media?
I think it definitely helps us all stay connected. Information is definitely key. It's definitely good to know what our family and friends are doing during these very confusing times, as we don't really know seriousness of the virus itself.
What do you think are the negative aspects of using social media?
Definitely the misinformation that's spread around. I've got someone on my Facebook who's a massive conspiracy theorist, and he shares all sorts. I know it's rubbish myself, but I know that there's people who are just worried about everything and will see that and think, what's going on?
I don't really watch any of that sort of stuff because it's depressing. It makes me feel worse about the situation than I already do. You'd see the odd article just come through the news feeds anyway, and it'd be like, oh, look, lockdown's going to be extended. And I think to myself, no, I can't handle it as it is. So I don't want it to be extended. I know that it already affects my mental health. So don't want to add to it by reading into it and then making my mental health so much worse. I do find it difficult to be productive, and sometimes it's a case of going, my phone needs charging. This is a good time to put it down and then be productive. But that's the only time I can be productive because my phone isn't to hand because it's sitting somewhere else with a plug in it.
We conducted a short survey to see how many people aged 16 to 24 are distracted when using social media when they need to be productive, and to see how many more people are online during the pandemic than before. As you can see from the chart, nobody said no to being distracted by social media, and over 80% said they are online more during the pandemic. Studies taken up by universities and programmers alike have indicated for years that there is a link between overusing social media apps and mental health issues such as depression and loneliness. This survey demonstrates that on average people experience something on social media that affects them negatively during this pandemic. As mentioned previously, these experiences can directly affect our mental health and motivation in a time where it is essential to keep ourselves healthy.
I'm actually recently an addictions major, and so we've kind of talked about this. And so many people now, like I said, are bored, and so they're going and they're hopping onto social media or they're playing games because you can only do so much, or you're watching more. Games and like Netflix and stuff aren't social media, but still, like the concept of being on your phone And just, yeah, like the addictions have risen since the start of the pandemic, because there's nothing you can do. It depends on like where you are to how much you can do, like lockdowns and everything like that. But when you're like in a major lockdown, you can't go out and do stuff with other people. And so you're drawn to just scrolling and liking and everything and sharing. Honestly, I think their mental health is going to tank. Because everyone's online now. The increase of false news and like just misinformation like can trigger anxiety almost in people and stuff, because I know yesterday actually I saw this one post that was about just everything falling into like martial law and everything, and the way that it was phrased was enough to kind of give me a little bit of anxiety. I think the reason people are still feeling lonely despite the social media and everything like that is because they miss that person-to-person communication and interactions and stuff, because you can sit here and get like hundreds and hundreds of likes, comments, shares, whatever, but you're not seeing those people. All they are is a username and a blank screen, or like whatever you're looking at, like it's just a username and just a screen in front of you. And so humans are social beings. Like they will go out, and that's why you see people at parties or stuff like that. Like they go to have that contact, like not so much touching maybe, but just being able to stare people in the eyes without having a solid screen in front of you. And so the loneliness, I think, is increasing because people are lacking that extra little push of connection.
Misinformation at this time has been bombarded onto everybody's social media pages. Such a spread of misinformation affects how we view this virus and the behaviour we have as a community during this time. Phones and social media are brilliant at keeping us connected. It is also one of the biggest modern day factors driving a collective community apart. Social media has many benefits for a lot of people, and during this time it is important that we stay connected with each other, keeping up to date with the news and staying safe during this unpredictable time. In the end, it's a really deep philosophical question. What is genuinely worth your attention on an interruptive basis? Do people even know how to answer that question? It's not something we think about. But for now, it's a question that everybody needs to start asking.